Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kara.
So, Kara, what have you been up to these past couple of weeks? Anything?
A lot of editing. Photo editing.
It's fun.
Trying to lock in. We've been planning our summer stuff, though.
Yeah.
Like our little cabin trip we're doing and whatnot.
Yeah, nice. Fun.
We had a con in Sandusky, but it kind of sucked because the weather was not
Your
warm.
usual con
It's
fair?
a water park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a water park convention, so it's like it was really too cold to swim. So they would let us outside to take photos, but they wouldn't open. Like,
Really?
Swim in the water park.
Huh. That's
but they
crazy.
at least let us take photos, so that was nice of them.
Oh, wow. That is crazy. So they didn't have it open at all outside, so I assume you guys were using the inside water park then, right?
So they let it, so we could be out in the outdoor one. We just could not be in the water. Like, we could take photos out there, like, with the pools. We just couldn't get, like...
No, I know what you mean.
Swim.
Go swim.
Yeah.
So you
but
had
then,
to
like,
go...
yeah, most of the people actually swam in the
indoor one? Ah. Nice.
At least they have that option.
Yeah. That's nice.
Which was... I'm glad that we could still shoot in the outside water park, though.
Yeah.
I think it didn't rain, which was nice. I think it rained a little bit one night, but not, like, to affect the shoots or anything. Which is good.
Now, when was your convention?
I mean,
when was it?
It was your birthday weekend.
Oh, okay. So, like, the 30th, 31st, 1st, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It was the weekend after Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. So that means
But it's like weirdly cold.
Yeah, we didn't know because it was hotter than Hades where we were. We were on a cruise. Yeah. We went to
we were on a cruise.
We went to several different places, but we were in the Caribbean and the weather was very nice. It got really hot though when we were in Cozumel. It was like 90 freaking degrees and it was hot. But the other couple days it wasn't too bad. And when we were on
like a high of 65.
Wow, that's crazy. Like yeah, isn't that insane? Usually by June we're like already up in the 90s and stuff.
I know. But it also doesn't help that we're up by the lake.
So that's true. So it's always going to be colder up there no matter what the temperature is down by us.
Yeah. But normally it's not that cold. Sometimes it's cold during Colossal, but not that cold.
So when we were on our trip, it was me and my husband, and we took Kara's younger brother that just graduated from high school, Sam, with us. And because he had turned 18, he got to drink in all of the countries that we went to because their drinking age is 18. Oh my God, it was hysterical. He when we were in Jamaica, he got to try like shots of rum because one of the places we went to, that's what they had there was like, rum shots or whatever. But we went to the Grand Cayman. It was like the fourth day of our little journey because we had a sea day and then we had Jamaica first, and we went to the Grand Cayman, and then we went to Cozumel, Mexico. So when we went to Grand Cayman, there was like a rum bar across from the port. So we went over to the after we've gone to the beach there, which, oh my God, the beaches there are crazy. They have chickens, Kara, that run around everywhere. Like everywhere there are chickens.
Oh boy.
It's insane.
They had chickens on Coco Cay Island.
Really? And you know what we found out? We found out the reason why they had chickens there, I guess, because at one point they used to be overrun with like Cayman lizards or whatever they're called. And the chickens got rid of or kept the lizards at bay. And the chickens eat all the bugs. But because the chickens came about because when I think it was one of the hurricanes that came through recently, it ended up releasing all the domesticated chickens. So then they just went wild all over the whole island. And they decided that since they got rid of all the lizards, they'd rather have chicken than lizards running around. So the chickens eat all like the insects, which is nice, I guess, kind of, sort of. But then they poop all over the beach everywhere because they were like all over the beach. It was gross. And then there was like this one spot where they were all hanging out where like there was water to clean off your feet and stuff, when you hung out at the beach. And all the chickens were there like running around pooping and eating all the... It was just, it was a little weird and gross. So, but that was the Grand Cayman. And the beach there was beautiful. I have pictures. I'll have to send them to you. was beautiful. I can't say enough about how beautiful the water was, like this beautiful teal. You could see straight down into it. There was also a lot of cool fish that we got to see while we were there. There were the black and white fish. I forgot what you call. I guess they look like zebra fish. There were like schools of those everywhere you could see. They're also famous because their name, actually Grand Cayman, translates to mean turtle. So they have tons of turtles that hang out on the island and around the island, like the sea turtles. So that was pretty cool. And then we went to Cozumel, and that was interesting. While we were there, we went to this place called Señor Frog's. It's like a restaurant, and it's kind of like Dick's Last Resort, where they're like kind of crazy.
I've heard of that place, the frog place.
Have you heard of it? And it was kind of like they would write inappropriate stickers and put them on you, like Sam was Mama's boy, and Joe was Big Daddy or something, and mine was I forget what mine was hysterical. Well, I was a dummy and walked around like the whole time we were there with that stupid sticker on, and I like got all these pictures with the sticker. Oh, it's hysterical.
Oh my god.
But when we were there, man, that place the food was amazing. I'm not gonna lie, the food was really good there. But they had margaritas, so we all got like their margarita. Okay, it came in this huge cup thing, and they had like 5 shots of tequila in it. So Sam, who basically up to this point had only mostly drank like beer, he wasn't, he wasn't a big like
you know of.
Well, I know of alcohol drinker, but he hadn't had a lot of like rum and tequila.
I know.
Oh my god, he was hysterical. He was getting all giggly and stuff. I was dying. I'm like, oh my.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he got a little overserved when we were. I was like worried because we had taken a taxi from the port where our boat came in at to get over to the part of the island that was inhabited and had a lot of stuff, and so we had to tell them like the name of it, and I couldn't remember what the name was, and Dad was also getting kind of giddy and like. He was, kind of 10 sheets to the wind also with Sam. And I'm like, oh, my God, we're never going to get back to the port. They're going to leave us. We're going to be runners.
Yeah, y'all are never going to
I know. We're never going to get out of here.
Trapped in Mexico.
Right? Oh, my God. I was like, what is going on? So we made it back, though, to the port in time. And we weren't one of the runners. But there were people that ended up having to run. Oh, my God. Have you ever seen that or heard about that? Like when you go to ports, like some of them, you can have like people, like you're supposed to be back and before the ship is supposed to leave the port. But sometimes people are stupid and the ship time and the time on the island are 2 different times. And people don't pay attention to that. So we had like 3 people that were, because they were like making announcements all over the ship, so-and-so and so-and-so here. Well, nobody had heard from them. So all of a sudden you see these 3 people, no lie, running up the port, boardwalk or whatever, running full throttle because the ship was going to leave without them.
Oh my gosh.
So we made sure.
Yeah, they'll leave you.
Oh, they will. And we were like taking videos. Great. I was like, we made sure we were back in plenty of time so we didn't have that issue.
I think when we got back like 2 or 3 hours.
Yes, so did we, because I did not want to be stuck on some weird random island, in the middle of nowhere.
And you can eat on the ship too.
Exactly.
So
it's free. Yeah, cheaper.
Yeah, we didn't eat. I don't think we ate it off of the cruise at all. Like at least at that one place we went. The second island, not the Coco Cay, the other one. We did. We only did it on Cozumel because, like I said, everybody had told us you should go to that. The frog place is really good, so that's what we did. It was really good. So that was the other times we just stayed out until like 1 and then came back to the ship and ate our lunch or whatever. Now, the Grand Cayman one, we actually had to take, like, a boat to get to it. There was no, like, pier to run on or anything, which was kind of crazy. So, that was interesting. And also, oh, my God. So, I don't know if you know that, okay, there are smart elevators now. And I don't know if you've ever heard. Have you ever been on one? Do you know what I'm talking about? What do you mean by a smart elevator?
So what I mean by a smart elevator is, you know how normally you go to an elevator and you press either up or down to get the doors to open up, and then it has all the numbers for all the floors in the building or wherever you're going, correct?
Oh, was it the one where they don't have it?
Yes.
It's like a tablet?
Yes.
Type
your... Yes.
I've had that before at a hotel.
Okay. So thank you. So, okay, get this. So they decide on the ship that we're going to do that, okay? And people are stupid, and let's face it, nobody knows how to work this stupid thing.
So they just walk into them.
Yes.
They don't know what
exactly.
It's supposed to assign you.
Yes, it assigns you an elevator. It's supposed to make it more efficient when it works properly, okay? So the one morning before we were going into port, Dad and Sam were still sleeping, and I wanted to go get coffee and a croissant. So I decided I'm going up to the Lido deck, which was on the 11th floor, to go get my snack, whatever. Okay, so I get up there just fine. I pressed the button and picked which floor I was going to. They assigned me an elevator, and I went. So I'm getting back onto the elevator. I have a plate of food in my hand and hot freaking coffee in my hand. And I pressed the little keypad, and I chose where I needed to go, which was our floor, which was floor 7. And it says, okay, well, you need to go to elevator M. Okay, fine. So I walk over to elevator M, and I get into the elevator, and the door is shut. And none of the numbers are pressed, Kara, are lit up. And you can't press them from the inside. And I have a plate of food and a hot thing of coffee in my hand. So I was...
Why did you not push the button?
Because you can't. Like, you don't understand. I pushed it on the outside, and it assigned me the elevator. And I walked into the elevator. And when you walk into the elevator, the lights are supposed to be lit up to what floor it's going to. Well, none of the lights were lit up on the stupid elevator.
Well, why'd you walk in that one?
Because that's the one it told me to go to. I
know it told you, but I would be like, ooh, the lights aren't on in this one.
But I didn't know that until I got in it and the door shut. So I couldn't do anything about it because I had a plate in my hand and a cup in my hand.
Eventually it should move or put you somewhere.
Well, it didn't. It just sat there. I was freaking out. It was like locked and I couldn't get it to open because there's no button to press for the door to open. I had to wait until somebody called the elevator. Oh my God.
Are you?
I'm not even joking. So I sat on this freaking elevator for 10 freaking minutes. Okay. And I couldn't do anything. And I didn't know whether I should start screaming help or what. Because I didn't know what to do. I was like, this has never happened. God. And I couldn't press a button because there was no button to press. So finally, the elevator gets called down to floor 0, okay? Which is not any of the floors for the passengers. It was like found for the people that, work on the ship. So I get called down all the way down to 0. Well, when I get called down there, the door doesn't open. So I'm still stuck on the freaking elevator all the way down at 0. So at this point, I'm like, oh my God, there was like a button to press to call like an attendant. And I didn't know if I should do it or not at this point. So I'm like freaking out and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to, be trapped in the elevator. I'm going to die because, or I'm going to have to go to the bathroom and I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm like sitting there waiting for like 5 more minutes. And finally the elevator got pulled up somewhere. I got off on the 5th. As soon as that elevator door, I was like, I don't care what floor I'm on. I'm getting off the elevator. I am done. So it got to floor 5 and we were on floor 7. So I hurried up and ran off the elevator and just decided to hoof it up to the next 2 floors to get to where we were. But oh my God, that was an experience. I was like literally freaking out because there's no buttons to press to get me off the elevator. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard or seen in my life. And I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody.
No buttons at all? There had to be a fire button.
Well, there was that, but, oh my God, if I press the fire button, you're going to have everybody in panic mode on a ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I didn't want to do that. I know. So I was like, oh my God. I was so freaked out by the time I got off that. I am like, I was almost afraid to use the elevators anymore. And then your brother nicknamed me Elevator after that, after the whole experience.
Elevator.
Like, yeah, he's like, Elevator. I'm like, oh my God, shut up. But yeah, so that was my fun on the ship, stuck in the elevator.
What the fuck?
I didn't know what to do. I was like, what the hell? There was like no buttons to press inside. It was so strange. Like, don't they ever, shouldn't the elevator have recognized that somebody was in the elevator? They're supposed to be smart elevators. Why did it not know I was in there? I don't understand. But anyway, that was my whole fun thing on our trip that happened to me. Other than that, everything else we had a nice time. It was nice. The pools were, I don't know. They were like 6 feet deep and all the kids kept swimming in them. And I was like, nah, I don't want to get in that. Plus it was really crowded, the pool. And I thought they would be like, last time we went like 27 years ago, our pool was pretty decent. Like you could actually walk in and it was not a 0 entry, but they did have steps into it and it wasn't very deep. So I don't know why both the pools on this particular ship were like 6 feet deep. It would have been over my head. So all the kids had to wear life jackets when they got in. And that's all that was in there was like little kids. So none of the adults wanted to get in them.
Yep. Well, didn't they have like the adult pool?
Yeah, they did. It was called the Serenity, and it was like on the 15th floor of the 15th floor deck or whatever. But it was so crowded because all the parents and people that didn't have kids were up there. We couldn't even find a spot to sit down up there. We had to go down on the main pool deck to get a spot. It was pretty crazy how crowded it was up there on the deck for the adults.
It was wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it was it was interesting. I don't know that I'll be running right back to... I don't know how people can just, like, get off one boat and go back onto another one. I couldn't do that. It was enough for a while. I'm good on a boat for a while. Me and you should go do a Disney cruise, though. I think we'd have a fun time on that. That would be...
Wait, we should bring Gage with us.
Okay.
Gage loves Disney.
All right, well, we should do that. I think it would be a hoot.
I know, we got the hookup. Gage loves... Maybe we can go with Gage and his mom. Because Gage just went on a cruise with... like a Disney cruise with his mom.
Oh, yeah? Cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm down for that. Because somebody I know was on a Disney cruise and they were posting and it looked pretty cool.
It did look cool. I will say that I am intrigued always seeing Gage's photos from them. Yeah. I think he went on their newest one.
Oh, yeah.
Wish or whatever.
Oh, the Wish? Yeah, I just saw that was near us at one of the ports.
Yeah. Huh. And I think Gage told me that it's all inclusive.
Yes, your drinks are included on there. You don't have to pay extra, which is amazing considering we had to pay extra for ours on we're on Carnival, in case anybody was wondering. We were on the Carnival Horizon and it went to it was a 6-day cruise to the Caribbean. But I mean, that was nice, but we had to pay for our drinks, which was ridiculous for how, And they limit you on Carnival. You're only allowed 15 drinks, okay? And it's stupid. You can only get one drink every 15 minutes. I'm like, seriously? So even
That's
if
how it worked on the other one.
The Royal Caribbean. Yeah.
Except, here, we tested it, and they really don't care.
Well, they called us out on it on ours because I want...
Wait,
okay,
really?
Yeah. Okay, this is what I went and ordered. I ordered like a fruity drink, right? Alcoholic beverage. Yeah. And then I wanted a thing of water, a bottled water. And they're like, well, you can only get one. You can't get both. I'm like, are you really kidding me right now? Yeah,
They would give us bottles with our drinks.
No.
Like, we'd be like, hey, can we also get a...
Yes, no, weird. I know. And I was pissed. And they're like, well, we can't give you both.
You need to do Royal Caribbean next time. Don't do Carnival.
Maybe. I don't know. Our Carnival's like... I hear all kinds of horror stories about Carnival and how...
That's why I'm saying, why are you doing Carnival?
Kind of like they call it the ghetto, and I don't know.
That's it's the ghetto of the cruise.
That's what I hear. I mean, ours wasn't too bad, honestly. I mean, there was some kid, like, they actually stepped up their presence of, like, not police, but security on our ship, apparently. I heard from previous sailings. And there was, like, some stuff going, like, there was some kids that were about starting a huge fight the one night, and it got stopped by the security. And then they were standing in front of the door that leads, like, so you have, like, the air-conditioned cafeteria-style place there, right, that goes right out onto the deck where the main pool is. Well, the stupid kids kept standing on the, in between the doors there, so the doors kept staying open, and the air-condition kept running and running constantly. So the security guards came over and told them, you guys need to get out of here and quit standing there and doing that. So they finally moved on, but... I mean, it wasn't as bad as I had heard it's been before, so I was thankful for that. But, you live and learn, so.
I'm telling you, I enjoyed the Royal.
Did you? I mean, like I said, ours wasn't bad. I was shocked there wasn't more kids on ours than what there was, honestly. I was expecting us to be overrun with, like, little kids running around, which I have no problem with that. But when you're on a cruise ship, with a bunch of people, it can get a little crazy. So, but it wasn't that bad. And honestly, like, for whatever reason, whatever we were doing, the kids weren't near us. So that was good. So, all right. Well, I guess we better get started with what we're really here to talk about, which is, supernatural, haunted, scary, spooky stuff. So I guess well, do you want me to go first, or you want to go first? What do you want to do? Actually, you know what? Let me go first, because mine will not take very long. It's actually something I came across on our little adventure to the Grand Cayman. So I'll talk about mine real quick.
Perfect.
And then you can talk about yours, since yours is kind of like a larger topic, I feel.
Mine's a little bit larger. Yeah, there's some, like, open-ended things we can talk about as well with the...
Okay.
and some personal recounts.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to hear this. Okay.
I know it's funny.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait. So anyway, so I'm going to be talking about they're called Duppy, okay? And so we were, like I said, we were on vacation and we visited the Grand Cayman. And while we were there, we got to visit its beautiful beaches and see the shimmering waters, and we had wonderful weather. Well, on the north side of the island, there is this legend that people talk about that suggests that there's more going on than meets the eye on the island. Just the name Duppy puts a lump in the throats of locals. Duppys have earned a devilish reputation as the most malevolent of supernatural spirits in the West Indies. Now, these Duppys, as they like to call them, are these they're kind of like spirits or ghosts that will go around causing mischief to the people on the island. And a lot of the islands, like Jamaica believes in them, Barbados believes in them, and some of the other islands in the Caribbean believe in these spirits. It is said that they haunt on a particular turn on the North Side Road. And this road is actually not doesn't have like a lot of people. That it's not inhabited by a lot of people, basically, and it's kind of just mostly like beach and just a lot of undeveloped land there. And this is where people say that the locals have seen these Duppy hanging out, and why it has been named Duppy Turn. So the story goes that pirates once visited the island, and they were so enamored with the island and loved the beaches there and that when they would, come in with their pirate ships and stuff, that they buried a bunch of treasure on the north side of the island. And they wanted to make sure that their treasure was safe from robbers and looters and that. And how they did that was the pirates would murder the local Caymans. The reason why they did that is they wanted to have their spirits there to help protect their treasure and their gold and all that from looters and grave robbers. And that is one of the ways that they felt that the spirits of these dead people would protect their treasure from people trying to steal it. Over the years, there have been lots of Duppy sightings and encounters, and these usually happen in the early evening just after the sun sets. Some of the stories that have been told about people that have seen these Duppys, especially on the Duppy Turn, there's one story about a young lad that was visiting his girlfriend on a place in one of the little towns of the island. And he decided he was going to walk home. And on his way home, he had to pass through the Duppy Turn. And he said when he started to walk past there, he noticed a glowing figure that would look like it was standing up and then kneel back down. And he said he constantly would rise up and rise back down. Well, he was so scared by this that he ran back to the town that his girlfriend lived in and, was like telling everybody what had happened. And he got a friend to travel with him to take him back to his town so he wouldn't, be so scared, and to make sure he made it there okay. And when him and his friend walked past this Duppy Turn or whatever, and his friend happened to see this this creature, whatever you want to call it, again, standing up and kneeling down, standing up and kneeling down. Well, when him and his friend walked past it, they discovered that it actually was only like a palm, like a silver palm that was there. And when the moonlight hit it, it actually looked like it was like a moving person going up and down. So it really wasn't a spirit that he had seen. It was just the plant life there making it look like it was a spirit. But there are other stories of people actually seeing like moving lights and stuff in that general area, and they believe it's like the spirits of the Duppy, and it's also the spirits of pirates that have passed coming back trying to find their treasure, apparently. So Duppy, as I said, are generally regarded as malevolent spirits who bring misfortune and woe to those who come near them. Before the island got electricity, at sunset, people would say that they would see the glowing spirits walking all along this one particular road there on the Grand Cayman Island. And they said it was the spirits walking to protect the pirates' treasure. So you too can go check out this particular section of the island. Like I said, it's on the north shore of the Grand Cayman. It's called Duppy Turn. You'll need to either rent a car or take like a taxi or something to get to the north side of the island, because most of the time, and most of like the hotels and stuff are on the south side of the island. And that's where, you know, most of the people live and stuff. And the north side is like a more, less populated portion of the island. So just keep that in mind when you decide to go there and visit. And don't go alone, because you never know what you're going to find walking along the side of the road. It could really be one of these spirits, up to no good, trying to trick you into doing, something, or, making you your car go off the road or something. So bear that in mind if you happen to go to the Grand Cayman and check out the Duppy Turn. But anyway, that's what I heard about when I was in the Cayman Islands.
Huh.
Yep, Duppy Turn. I know, Duppy. I know. I was like, what in the world? Yep. And the funniest thing is, that is the same name that they use in most of the places there in the Western Caribbean. Like Jamaica, they're also called Duppies, which is interesting. And I believe in Barbados, they're also called Duppies. So it's interesting. And that's all I have for today. What do you have for us, Kara?
We're going to be talking about astral projection, also known as an out-of-body experience. Basically, it's the idea that you can meditate into a trance-like state where you, quote-unquote, leave your body and you're able to travel through what is called the astral plane. So this phenomenon is pretty well known in the paranormal and also the spiritual community. And there's records can date back to like talking about this as late as the ancient Egyptian times.
Oh,
this is like not a new concept, is kind of prevalent through history as well. So in ancient Egypt specifically, it is believed the soul, the Ba, has the ability to hover outside the physical body via the Ka, or subtle body. Which is interesting. I mean, obviously it's not exact mention of it, but it's a similar concept. Obviously it's not going to be like, this is astral projection.
Right.
So in Japanese mythology, the Ikiro is the soul of a living person separate from their body. They also believe that if you had like a very large hatred or a grudge against someone, it was believed that a part of your soul would leave your body and it would appear before the person that you really didn't like in order to curse this person and harm them.
Ooh.
Right? They also scary. They also believe that a soul could leave the body if they were very sick or in a coma. Which is something we'll talk about later, the coma idea, because it comes up in a different thing we're going to talk about. So, in Judaism and Christian, there's like an actual... this is kind of a stretch, but it is interesting. In the Ecclesiastes, there's a quote where it says, "Remember him, before the silver cord is severed and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring and the wheel broken at the well."
That's weird.
They would, because they used to refer to as the silver cord is like the connection to the soul in your body.
I've heard of that before. Yeah.
Yes. And then in Corinthians, which is interesting, 12:2, I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of body, I do not know. God knows. So, another reference to this out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
So then I went down a crazy rabbit hole because there is an entire online community of people attempting to astral project, and you can talk about your own experiences, and they have like how-to guides on how to astral project.
Interesting.
I was doing some, and they kind of go like they break it down a little bit more. So, an out-of-body experience is a conscious experience in which your point of awareness separates from your physical body, perceives from a vantage point, often floating or entering entirely new environments, while your physical body remains still and asleep or deeply relaxed. Your consciousness becomes active and mobile, navigating what many call non-physical reality. Another way that they kind of describe it is like changing a TV station of your consciousness, where instead of being in this reality, it's like a click, and then suddenly you're somewhere else.
Huh. Because don't Native Americans talk about that a lot? They talk about going down
that was
to
another
the astral plane.
Civilization that also the Inuit isn't the Inuit's a tribe, isn't it?
Yes, that's a tribe. Yeah, a Native American tribe.
Yeah,
and then the Aborigines also had it. Remember, they always talked about it. And they did drawings. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because that we're going to talk about a book I read that had to do with this. But it's because they were native.
Oh, okay.
But so what it feels like is like you're floating or flying or lifting away from the body. You have a shift in perception. The room feels different or surreal, and your entry into like a dreamlike, hyper-real environment. Vivid, stable perception without using your eyes, and then freedom from bodily sensation. And then you may not even realize the shift occurred until you look back. So an OBE, out-of-body experience, is similar to remote viewing, which I think we talked about once on the podcast.
Yes, we have talked about remote viewing before.
So it does differ from remote viewing, and here are the differences. So you intentionally perceive information from a distant time/place without traveling there. So like remote viewing is you're viewing it, while an out-of-body experience is like you are physically at the place. Like your consciousness is there, as opposed to you're seeing it from a different location. And then different from OBEs and sensation. They're like a remote viewing is more like receiving data as opposed to being physically in the scene. And it's sorry, I was confused what I wrote. And then something I kept thinking about is the connection between OBEs and alien abductions. Because like when you think about it, alien abductions always happen like people feel like the sensation of leaving their body. Right. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I wonder... I actually saw some people like discussing that like maybe aliens are really good at astral projecting into our world.
Well, we talked about that. Don't you remember? We talked about that not too long ago.
That's why I was kind of interested in that whole idea. And then, so I remember in 7th grade, we had to read a book. It was a horror novel, which I'm surprised they made us read in a Catholic school, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of shocked, honestly.
I vividly remember reading this, though. It was called Stranger with My Face. And the novel is about a Native American, Lori Stratton, who is seen by others in places which she knew that she could not be, and then she discovers that she has an identical twin sister named Leah, who has been visiting her town using astral projection, which involves her, like sending her soul outside her body, and then Lori learns astral projection and uses it to look for her sister. However, during this time, Leah's spirit takes control of Lori's body. And basically like takes her over, and Lori cannot get into her body anymore because she's trapped in like this astral realm.
That's creepy.
Which this was also developed into a film on the Lifetime movie network in August of 2009. So like the timeline does check out that it would be.
Yeah, that would have been when you were in grade school. Yeah.
Well, 2009, I would have been in 11th grade.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that 7th grade would be right before maybe the movie.
Right.
But astral projection also has a pretty big theme in some horror movies. Is there any that you can think of off the top of your head, Mother? Because it's a pretty like big one.
What?
That's related to Annabelle.
I'm trying to think.
Is that? Well, I don't know, but it's in that, I think, or maybe it's just a horror movie.
Are you talking about The Conjuring?
No, but it's Insidious.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Do you remember that whole movie?
That was about the nun, though, wasn't it, or something? Wasn't the nun
Insidious
involved in
about
that
the
one?
little boy.
No, I know, but I meant, isn't the nun tied to Insidious?
I couldn't remember if Insidious is in the Conjuring universe. I don't think it is it?
I don't think so. I think it's a separate.
But they came out around the same time, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Maybe that's why I'm getting it mixed up.
Insidious, but I definitely, know yes. Because remember, she would use that like mask or whatever to help her astro project into the nether world or whatever you want to call it, the afterworld or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Okay, Conjuring and Insidious came out around this like a few years apart. So.
Okay.
But I thought that for some reason I kept thinking they were in the same universe.
Maybe they are.
Maybe it's because I don't remember. But anyways, remember the little boy was astral projecting because he went into a coma and he left his body.
Yep.
And then the dad, remember, he had to end up astral projecting to help save him.
Yeah, to pull him out, yeah.
Because when you astral project, remember, at least this is in the theory in the movie, that when you leave your body is susceptible to spirits to get to. Because to take over your body. Connected.
Yeah, exactly, because the cord has been severed and you're floating around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, apparently, at least all the research I did, it's not as dramatized as it is in the movies.
Oh, okay.
Because it's less. I mean that's what I read when I went down the Reddit rabbit hole and I was reading they have like detailed how-to guides.
Oh.
Like with almost like step-by-step breakdowns. They tell you the best time of day to do it, like how you have to like sleep before, like switch your sleep for 4 to 6 hours, wake up, and then 45 minutes is when you're at the peak time to astral project. And like the time of day matters too.
Well, what time of day do they usually say?
All these people, like
early evening or
so the early morning between 4 to 8 a.m. is optimal. Your body is sleepy, but your mind can remain alert. And then you're not supposed to do it at night because it's your high mental activity and daily residue from the whole day.
That makes sense.
And apparently there's like body detoxes you do to preparation.
Really?
Like you're supposed to go on a vegan, raw, low-lean diets.
Really?
No alcohol or drugs, and you're supposed to fast.
Huh. Interesting.
I know.
Here now.
It's very. Yeah. Well, my funny experiences. I remember when I was a kid, I found like a YouTube hypnosis that was supposed to help you have your own astral project, and I would like practice.
Oh my! Okay,
I was trying
and
to astral project myself.
And how'd that work?
It didn't work for me, but I could always try now.
I was gonna say, yeah. Why don't you try and let us know how that works for you?
If anything, I need to do the remote viewing. That's how you can get some good stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the scientific. You can take courses to do the remote viewing if you remember.
Huh. Interesting.
I know, but that was my astral. We learned today about astral projection and out of body experiences. Did you learn anything new today?
Yeah, sure. I learned not to do it. That is, I don't
obviously
want to do it.
Be cautious with anything you do.
Yeah, guys, be very careful so you don't end up trapped on some weird plane.
Yeah, make sure you go to the subreddit first because they'll.
Yeah, always check the subreddit.
It's r/astral projection. That's literally all it is.
Okay. There, you heard it here first, folks. If you're interested in astral projection, yep.
And seeing what else is out there in the universe.
Yep. Try the subreddit, and you can go on there, and they'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah, it's their pinned post. They have like all of their master list, and they have like more reading too. You can do. Huh. So if you're interested, because there's like a lot of books about it too.
Oh, interesting.
Surprisingly.
Well,
is that all we got today?
I think that's about it today. Yep.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed the podcast today, please be sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Two Scaredy Cats Podcast. And don't forget to leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps the show get discovered. And tune in 2 weeks for our next episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.